Hello! This story is part of a series titled Seattle Jijinas. Spring of 1977. We had enough on our plate with the low-end rentals Dad had acquired and were scattered throughout the city. Then one evening he announced he had bought the lot across the street, and we were going to build a home for Mom. Part of me was happy, but another part of me knew we were doomed, because working for Dad was never easy. Welcome to Storytime with Kumars. My name is Kayo Jijina, and this is my story titled A Home for Mom. I hope you enjoy it. At first, the prospect of a new home seemed exciting. I had heard of people having homes built and enjoying the experience by doing fun stuff like picking out the paint for the walls, carpeting the kitchen cabinets and bathroom fixtures. But Dad had other plans. He asked our real estate agent, Mr. Howard, from Town & Country Realty, if he could recommend a couple of contractors for the job. To Dad's way of thinking, we might save some money if we hired the contractors to do only part of the job and have Brother and I finish things up. Granted, none of us had any construction experience, nor had we built anything using wood, nails, or saws. I questioned Dad's logic. Wouldn't they charge us double for having to teach a couple of novices?
Son, we are not made out of money. This is what we have to do to survive in this country.
The contractors were named Mr. Lodgeline and Dave. I was thankful they had been sent to help us. With the two of them around, Dad was a lot easier to work with. It didn't take long for the construction crew to start work. The contractors worked 8 hours a day and took weekends off. Dad, Brother, and I worked 7 days a week, after school and on weekends, until it was too dark to see. At first, the only days off we had were rainy days and after 5 p.m. on birthdays. But that eventually went away. To add to the mix, there were the rentals Dad had, all of them low-income homes, in disrepair, constant need of maintenance. Watching Mr. Lodgeline and Dad, I soon learned the two had very different styles of working. Mr. Lodgeline had us do work that needed to be done, such as cutting, nailing, and framing. Dad was one who liked to make work when there was really nothing to be done.
Okay, boys. The dump truck unloaded a pile of stones in the wrong place. We need to move it over there and start setting up the stakes for the foundation.
The truth of the matter was, the dump truck operator had asked Dad where to place it, and Dad told him. Now it was up to us to make things right by moving the 2-yard pile 8 feet. 3 hours later, Brother and I had completed the assigned task. I was at the point of exhaustion and felt a twinge in my lower back that would not go away. I was going to call Dad for an inspection when he appeared out of nowhere.
Just a minute, boys.
Something in his tone told me Dad was having second thoughts about the pile of rocks.
I've been thinking about this. We should really move the pile of rocks over there.
Dad pointed to the other side of the lot, some 30 feet away.
The cement truck may need to get in here, and then the pile of rocks may be in the way.
That moment I wanted to scream, but I held it in. Do you realize how much work it was to move the pile of gravel here in the first place? And now you want us to move it all the way to the other side of the lot because maybe it will be in the way? Instead, I shook my head, picked up the shovel, and got to work. Life was a fine balance when it came to working with Dad, and why I so look forward to having him find a job. If he wanted to, Dad could keep us moving this pile of rock around the lot all day. Somehow, with Brother there, we were able to turn ordinary work into a game, an adventure of sorts, and together we commiserated about Dad. Dad always looked for ways to save money, and Mr. Lodgeline was able to share his experience on what did or did not work. To pour the cement foundation, Dad came up with the idea for Brother and me to use the wheelbarrows and haul the cement from the truck all the way to the forms before dumping it in. Mr. Lodgelin was able to talk Dad into renting a pump truck, which Dad privately complained about.
I don't know. It seems like a waste of money when we have you boys here.
The thought of the lumber yard delivering our lumber was inconceivable. Instead, Dad wanted to hand-pick the lumber for our home and make sure they were straight with the least amount of wood knots. Each piece of lumber had to be inspected down both sides, and only good lumber placed in the truck.
It's a shame. What beautiful lumber they used to have in the old houses. And now there's only this garbage, full of knots.
Dad lamented as violins played in the background. What did he know about lumber and old houses? This was his first home, and we had just moved here. Mr. Lodgelin tried to suggest it made no difference whether the wood had knots or not, since it was all going to be covered up anyway. But Dad held his ground on this, and we spent hours sifting through the wood piles. I'm surprised the folks at the lumberyard allowed this pattern of behavior to continue for as long as it did. Our work truck was a white 1960s Chevy half-ton pickup with 4-speed on the column, which included a granny gear. Dad built a rack out of wood to handle the longer sections of lumber, and Mr. Lodgelin would sound the alarm each time we were close to running out of wood, at which point Dad would load Brother and me into the cab and off we went. Neither Brother nor I wanted to be the one to sit in the middle of the bench seat, the spot next to Dad, so we took turns. After the cement work was complete and given 48 hours to cure, Dad decided we should start building the outer walls. Mr. Lodgelin showed us how to mark up the lumber on 16-inch centers, drill the holes, and work our way down the section of wall. Our instructions were to complete a section, then call Dad, and he would help us to lift it into place. We decided to surprise Dad by completing the first section of wall and lifting the 26-foot structure into place all by ourselves. After completing the first section, Brother marched across the street to the front house to get Dad. He came, looked at the wall, as we had great big grins plastered completely across our faces.
Just a minute, boys.
What the heck, I held my breath. I felt it coming, slow and sure, like a bulldozer. Dad was about to crush everything we had done.
Which side did you start the wall from?
I pointed to the back of the lot where the cement foundation had been poured. We started it from that side. Dad was humming and hawing.
Son, I'm not sure if that is correct. We should have started it from the front.
I waited as Dad was still thinking things through.
Please take the wall down, pull out the nails, and start it all over again. This time, start measuring from the front.
This time I did not hold back. Are you kidding me? What difference does it make? Who cares which side you start the wall? You think anyone is going to remember after the sheetrock is on? All you have to do is find one stud and the rest will be on 16-inch centers. They will all fall into place.
Don't be stupid. Of course it matters. If you don't start from the front of the foundation, everyone will get confused and no one will know where anything is. Just do what I tell you. Don't argue with me. If you boys get fat, I will take you back to Iran.
And that was how it was working for Dad, 7 days a week, after school and on weekends. There was no such thing as taking breaks or anything like that. When dinner was ready, Mom would yell across the street. We walked over, ate, and got back to work. It took about a year before the project was complete. All those years of living in Iran, making do with hand-me-downs, and promising that someday he would build Mom her home and she could buy new things had finally come. That time was here. As for me, I was thankful to be done with the whole thing, an experience I did not care to repeat. Working with Dad had taken its toll, and I needed time to recover, time to heal. Finally, I saw an opening, and I could smell freedom. Time to engage in after-school activities, such as drama or chess club, possibly find a part-time job that actually paid something. I had waited for this moment for so long, and it had finally arrived.